Okay, so we've called the meeting to order. Mark's got attendance, and then item number 3 on the agenda is an appearance from Andrew Peterson from First Student.
So we asked Andrew here to talk about new buses and then also their DEI training. So I'm going to let him explain those questions for that. So you can go ahead.
Well, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us. Pleasure an honor to be here to speak and share some more insights. So Mark did ask me about the fleet that we submitted in our proposal. We have, I just had it up earlier, but I was looking at a different, it gave me my specs on our current fleet, but we have our current fleet in our proposal that we're still planning on finishing up this calendar year with. Manufacturers, there has been some back orders on vehicles, but as soon as we have a signed contract to go into new terms, we will place an order for a brand new vehicle and get that ordered, and hopefully that would show up early in 2022. And then in our proposal, we also have a second vehicle that we plan on purchasing a year from this winter in January of 2023. And then we also have a few other vehicles around the state if an issue were to occur that we would be able, what we call cascading, where we would float a vehicle in and cover it and make some transitions as well if we felt for whatever reason that the fleet wasn't adequate that we had in Mona. So as far as the fleet goes, we do plan on having 2 brand new vehicles added to the fleet, one this coming calendar year and one the following year. Any questions about the fleet?
Can you remind me I know the 2 buses that we have currently running are, to me, they feel relatively new, but I think, I don't remember the mileage on them. Is one of them older than the other, or one of them have more miles than the other, like to replace one at a time?
Correct. I have the proposal that we submitted to you. I just had the page that had the fleet specs on it. I was looking at a different page, and give me 1 second. I'll pull it up and I can speak more specifically to the mileage. One of the vehicle almost has double the mileage of the other.
Okay.
And that's why we wanted to replace that one sooner than later.
Yeah.
And then a year from now, one of the vehicles would be due for replacement. Then the spare would still have a amount of miles. I want to say, give me 1 second, let me find it. I prefer to speak specifics on it. Here it is, sorry. Yeah, so we've got a 2014 with 85,000 miles on it. We've got a 2016 with 81,000 miles. Now this was when we submitted the bid back in July, so little variance here. And then we also have another 2016 with 158,000 miles. And some of this also is kind of derived from how these routes run. Some buses get more hours a day than the others, so some can rack up mileage. We do try to rotate them because that's why we have a spare bus, and we typically have that one sitting at our maintenance bay, and if he gets a call, he just comes out and brings a healthy bus out on site and swaps buses and and takes the one that needs some repairs or maintenance done back to the shop to get work done, or if it's something you can do on site. So that's kind of how we rotate the fleet, and routine maintenance on PMs as well, preventative maintenance.
Right. Yeah, just for Molly and Addie, I don't know if you were on the committee, but there was a problem. Oh my gosh, this must have been 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even before you were with the company, Andrew. But the backup bus was not good, and you could smell fumes on the bus. But that has not been a problem for a long time. Like, that bus is completely out of commission. So knowing that we have 3 buses with under 200,000 miles is nice, and knowing that new ones will be rotated in. So that makes me as a rider very happy.
Yes, and I would just say the other, specifically the other question we had, and I agree with everything that Jim has said, is just the possibility of adding a hybrid or fully electric vehicle to the fleet at some point, and what your plans are as a company to invest more in those technologies. The rest of we're slowly building our city fleet with PD and, our parks vehicles and public works. We're just trying to slowly build the fleet up as either hybrid or electric vehicles with, given our previous commitments as a city to achieving more sustainable practices across the board. So that was just one question we had when we submitted the RFP, or that, proposed that we accept your bid with these potential conversations to occur. So checking in about that.
Yeah, as a company, we're heavily invested in the electrification, and whether or not you like it or not, it's coming. So it's we're invested in it. We've got it in Toronto. I want to say we had over 100 bus fleet that we just converted over to 100% electric. We are the leader in the industry with electric vehicles. None of our competitors even come close to having the same size electric fleet as us. So rest assured that, and we've partnered with NextEra Energy because they're a specialist in this area. So we're definitely in the space and growing in the space. And as time, the one thing I will say, the biggest constraint is there's still an economic cost to it that, the traditional fossil fuels still are economically cheaper from a rate standpoint. So, but there's grants out there, that are starting to come around to help offset that. And so we're exploring those options too, to make it more economical. So definitely though, if that's something you want to explore in the future and diversify the fleet, we'd be happy to work with you on that and figure out how we could, bring an electric bus into the market. So
Would the next buses that you're thinking about purchasing, could those be electric or hybrid?
We would have to work on that or collaborate on that in the sense that the current price points are based off the current diesel buses or gasoline buses that we're looking at. We would have to figure out, one, are there grants that are accessible that we could work together on that would help offset it, or if you really wanted the electric, but we'd be happy to have those conversations and figure out a way to make it work if it's something you truly want to.
I think it's a real priority for our city, and I think it's something we and probably the sustainability committee in Monona would be very interested in putting some energy behind trying to look for additional funds to do this. I think it would be something you'd see a lot of excitement here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also co-chair the sustainability committee. And so I have my hands in both pots, which makes it easier to sort of collaborate and connect and make sure that we're all on the same page. But I would love that. I would love to have that conversation continue, especially when it gets to the point of the new bus purchases or implementation. But I have to say, I'm super stoked to hear that you're the leader in this technology, and that you're just, kind of on the cusp and ready to start implementing these technologies across your fleet. So that really gives me a good feeling.
Yep, you're in good hands if you want electric with First Student, or First Group as we're called.
Awesome. The other question, does anyone else, Addie or Jim, anything else you want to talk about on this issue specifically? Okay.
I guess one thing on buses, I'm sorry. Are all three of the current buses and will future buses have bike racks?
Yeah, we can make that. I'd have to be honest with you. I can't validate that all three have them now. But
Yeah, I can't
definitely
remember either. Yeah.
I could, if going forward, or if it's an issue, we can always work to get them retrofitted with them.
Yeah, it's they haven't been used very much. I'll say that it's very rare that a rider brings a bus on. Or, sorry, they certainly never bring their own bus, but it's rare that a rider brings a bike. But I think it's, even when they're not used, having them present is advertisement running through our city. So I think it will catch on.
Yeah, I'll validate with Todd, our maintenance and contract manager, that he's got bike racks on them. If not, we'll get them ordered and make sure they're all set up to have one.
Thanks.
The other thing that Mark mentioned and that we had discussed as a committee previously is just the idea of really, our city is currently partnering with Nehemiah Center for Urban Leadership and Development, and we are working to, across all committees and city departments, just be more focused on DEI initiatives, working to be more inclusive and thoughtful in how our systems work, how our policies and procedures are created and implemented. And I think one of the big things that we encountered, and it's like big in quotation marks, but we had some conflict, I believe, in summer 2020 with protests at the Capitol and some confusion with the driver about how to handle that. And even though I think the driver acted in good faith and was just sort of overwhelmed, I think that the perception was there was some aggressive driving in response to the protests and just some lack of awareness with that. And being that Madison is such a, an active community as far as protests and marches and activity at the Capitol, we just wanted to make sure that, your employees were fully versed on, the importance of the concept of protest and the concept of being accommodating to, people of all ilk as far as ridership goes, but just greater preparation in those situations about how to be thoughtful and aware and respond positively in order to make sure that, people could feel free to go about their business without worry of interacting with that vehicle in a, in a harmful way. So we want to just to check in on what your general trainings are and what your policies are and how that relates to, these greater issues that Monona as a city is trying to tackle.
Yeah, and I would say it's probably an issue or opportunity, maybe more of an opportunity nationwide and, maybe globally as well. We do have it. We're very proud of the diversity and inclusion we have in our company. I've worked for several large Fortune 500 companies, and I would say First Student is one of the most diverse I've ever worked in. So we've got, even in Wisconsin, I've got, 3 different African-American leaders. I've got just hired another woman leader on my team here in Wisconsin. And then at our corporate office, we have our CFO is African-American, our chief, I think it's chief safety, but definitely executive VP of safety, Daryl Hill, who also heads up our diversity and inclusion council. He's African-American. So we're very invested in diversity, inclusion, and equity, and are working on ways to grow the, unconscious bias and awareness of that around the organization. And we do training. We use this system, much like any of the corporate training modules out there around harassment training and other initiatives similar to diversity and inclusion. We're getting our employees and trained on it and trying to educate and get people through that journey of learning why diversity and inclusion is very valuable to equity. So it is a top initiative at our organization, and we're partnering with more organizations on it as well. So it's definitely something that we are sensitive to and aware that we've got opportunities there to improve in.
And as you continue on that journey, we'd love to, I feel like with previous, we have relationships with the drivers, I think, as a committee, but it's great to hear from, someone in a leadership position and just kind of get more information about how things are going across the board with the organization. So I'd love to keep that conversation going and just hear more about, how that progresses for the company. But again, I'm glad to hear that you consider it a priority. I like that you refer to it as an opportunity versus, any sort of burden or, sort of impossible task, because I think it's really essential right now. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that update. Any questions from Jim, Addie, or Mark on that? Okay, we're good. So Mark, any other items that you were hoping to discuss while we have Andrew with us?
I did. I don't know if you guys have any I can think of.
You said you're good?
I'm good with all this stuff.
Well, I'd love to, as I said, I think it would be great periodically just to check in with you if that would be possible, invite you to the meetings and have conversations about how things are going. And again, various updates about the electric fleet and the possibility of that, as well as the DEI issues. But to me, this satisfies the questions that I had personally about, how your company was operating and what your intentions were as far as the electric fleet / DEI initiative. So I think I'm feeling good about it.
Great, great. And we'd be happy to, jump on any call, and especially with the electrification of vehicles, I can bring in, and even with our DE&I program, I can bring in other speakers from the company to speak on that as well too, down the road. So.
Perfect. I think that sounds excellent. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you and take care.
Yeah,
Be
back
safe.
at you. Awesome. I was like, is he, what's happening? Yeah, I think that was a really positive conversation. And I really do, like the idea of keeping in touch and just having more of a direct conduit to the goings on of the company, and keeping on top of our priorities as a committee for, what the services that we provide and what we expect from our partnership with First Group.
So Mark, a quick question for you. If we were able to make the case for purchasing electric vehicles for the future buses, and it moved the price point up in terms, not the contract, but we were asked to supplement the contract. Would the city view that as an investment because the city has said it wants to move in that direction? Or would it be, I guess it's the same thing. Is it a burden or an opportunity?
Sure. Yes, it's a tough question. So I think it's more of a city council question. I don't know if they would or wouldn't. Sustainability is a big thing right now. We do have, we have the committee and stuff like that. So I think it would be a conversation. I think their biggest issue, just from, our last meeting, we put for the first read, we put in the last agenda, the bid awardment to for students. And so we kind of got a feel, what they're asking. I know at least one alder was asking, are we paying too much? Because she was asking about the ridership and things like that. So, if you increase it, I don't know if that's something.
Yep.
At least one of it would follow, but I think it's definitely something to bring up to them, or at least talk about.
I would offer to, and I guess it's a hope, but I would offer that if this were the particular cost that we were looking to endeavor upon for, an electric vehicle or two, my guess is that we would receive more support for that than, a different kind of ask, like an additional bus stop or, whatever. I think the majority of the city understands that we really have to stick to our commitments for sustainability and exploring, partnerships such as these and options such as these, especially with our fleet of vehicles.
Right.
So that would be my hope and my assumption that we would receive more support for, an increase in budget such as that versus something else.
It would be a PR coup also that could attract new riders.
Yes. And I think, great segue into the survey results, but I feel like a lot of people just are not sure how to interact with and connect with and learn about the transit program. So I think having a lot of publicity from various outlets would be a great way to just, get people interested and involved.
Yeah.
And I think, we've got a 4-year cycle on this contract to keep pushing for getting the electric vehicles in the fleet, so that in 2026, we can feel confident making it a requirement in our bid.
Yes.
And if First Transit has already purchased one, say, even if half their operating fleet is electric, they would be positioned well to say, all right, if we want this contract for another 4 years, let's purchase a second one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if in the future, gas prices go up or diesel prices go up significantly. And that, total cost of ownership calculation can change pretty rapidly.
Yeah, it really can.
Yeah, because there's an inflection point, and I think it's $3.25, $3.65, somewhere in there a gallon.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for mass transit. It may be a little different for these vehicles. I don't know.
Yeah, and for diesel too, I just know gas.
But for commercial or for regular cars like we own, that's kind of where it is. if you don't have solar. If you have solar, the price, the inflection point is way down because you're getting your electric for free.
This is an aside, but Dan just got a t-shirt that says passive solar, face it. And I thought that was really funny. You know, like it's just, let's face it.
So with us talking about those, you know, they're gonna, like they said, once they get a signed contract, they're gonna order a bus for the coming year. Is that something we want to talk about for this, or we really want to talk about for that second bus next year? Is that-
I think it's the second bus myself.
I agree.
I don't want to put them over a barrel.
Right.
I just want to, so a logistical, the next, I mean, we can approve the minutes, et cetera, as we go through, but then I'm just, to me, it's feeling like we are not going to get quorum for this evening's meeting. So just a question of logistics. How is it going to work if are we able to solicit approval over email? I cannot remember specifically the rules about.
We can't, we'd have to have like a separate meeting
Okay,
to approve it. So to approve any of this stuff on there, we'd have to have a separate meeting. So I don't know if it, you know, at least the budget and the approval of the bid, I think, are important. I don't know if you're gonna have the, like, during lunch hour, like a 15-minute thing too, if that would work for people.
I bet we could, if we said we had to do this, we could
Yeah.
probably do something in the next week. I would
Yeah.
bet. Because all
Yeah,
we
I'm
need is one more,
Jim, what time do you have to leave?
like now.
Okay, I was just gonna see a last ditch effort if I could get Doug Powell to just sign on for a couple of minutes and see if we could. I'm not sure what he's doing. I know he said he couldn't attend tonight, but he's a close personal friend, so would it be
Yeah.
worth it?
Give it a shot. I got like 2 minutes.
All right, hold tight.
Yeah.
Ooh, gotten it tight.
I'm gonna have some salad. All right, Addie, while we have this break though, you got to show us your dog. I showed my dog.
Oh, hey, Petey. It's gonna be kind of hard because he's small and very dark.
I see his butt.
Here he is.
Oh,
That's the
adorable.
picture.
He's a cutie.
He is a sweet boy. And he's my very old man. He's now, how old are you now? 13, 12, something like that.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if he answered?
There's sometimes I wonder, honestly.
I'm 13, Mom. I'm 13 years old.
And then I got this cat that's the complement of my dog, mostly black with little white.
Oh,
That's so cute. My big boy is gone, but my 14-and-a-half-year-old is here, so I'm just gonna join in the fray. Doug is not answering, so I think we're gonna have to do the alternative meeting.
Yeah.
So I can get a-
I'm sorry I have to boogie too, guys, but I got to meet this dog first. Oh, look at that baby.
This
Oh.
is Tom
Like
Hanks.
Cocker.
He's a you can see his legs don't really work anymore.
Oh,
He's
so
a
it's-
Cavalier King Charles
I was gonna
Spaniel.
say that.
oh, puppy.
But he's doing great. He ate a full dinner tonight and he was romping around the yard earlier. So just take the days as they come, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Jim. We will continue bravely in your stead. And I think, Mark, I would be totally up for like a quick lunchtime meeting prior to, well, I guess it has to be this week, huh?
This week or early next week.
Got it. Okay.
I'm good all the rest of this week, and I think I'm good early next week. So yeah, I'll make something work.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Have fun.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right. Oh, I guess that's it, Mark. Everybody signed off.
All right. I'll have to follow up with Andrew, see what's going on with him. So he's missed the last 3, I think, so
Okay. Yeah.
talk to him.
Um, I guess we will just table the rest of the information for the time being. I think it would be useful anyway to discuss the transit survey with the rest of the committee.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I wasn't expecting Addie to go, so
Okay. All right.
I will move and second to adjourn, I suppose. Sorry about that. At least it's recorded for the world to see. The City of Monona Transit Commission strikes.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for everything. I have to say, I truly am like really pleased about our conversation with Andrew tonight, and I think that that's going to be awesome. So,
Yeah, I talked to him a couple times just recently, and they seem like they're a large corporation. I mean, they're nationwide. They have a lot of buses and stuff like this. Is like the small service, but what he's saying, I believe, is true. I mean, just based on they are the
Yeah.
largest transit one in this nation for this type of service. So.
right. Well, and I think representation in leadership, as far as different demographics and races and backgrounds is the best way to show that you care about,
Yeah.
your DEI initiative. So, yeah. All right.
All right.
See you. Well, I'll see you soon. I'm totally flexible about the meeting, so I'll be there.
Okay. All right. I'll
Thanks,
get
Mark.
that out. Thanks.
Bye.